I slay monsters for a living. Over 600,000 people go missing a year in the United States, and many of these cases simply remain unsolved, with families never getting closure, or so the government would have you believe. Truth is, they would rather have these families not know what really happened. They would rather the world didn't know. What was that MIB line? A person is smart, people are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals. So rather than telling you that your father was eaten by a werewolf, or your daughter was killed by a shapeshifter, they simply tell you that they are missing. That doesn't take care of the problem though, which is where I come in. Well, me and my fellow slayers. That's what I call myself, though it may not be the official term. See, my parents were killed by one such monster when I was a child, and the government in its infinite wisdom decided that rather than sending me to an orphanage, they would turn me into a monster slayer. They experimented on me, taught me how to kill, and gave me state-of-the-art weaponry, all for one singular purpose. Not the career I aspired to as a child, but it pays well enough. However, enough with preamble, let's get into what you really came here for. A story of a time when I tangled with one of these creatures. It was a Wednesday morning when I got the call. 6 teenagers had gone missing after going on a camping trip. A whole day gone with no contact from them. Normally I would only be called in after all other law enforcement had failed, but one of the teens was a daughter of a high-ranking government official, someone in the know, and had pulled enough strings to have me hired as a consultant. I arrived that night and was assigned a partner, a young woman named Jenna, who seemed nice enough, just clueless on what really goes on in the world. Your job is to help me in any way possible. You are just a consultant. I'm the one in charge. You understand? I nodded my head. I was perfectly happy with letting Jenna solve this on her own if it meant not getting my hands dirty. The first thing we did was talk to the parents, as she wanted to follow up on some things. The parents were of course no help. However, I got the chance to talk to my employer. So, what do you think? Is there a monster involved in this? He asks me in private. I can't say yet, sir. I will have to go to the campsite to see what exactly happened. If it is, I will make sure to take care of it. I try to assure him. Truth is, if it was a monster, his daughter was likely dead already. But I couldn't tell him that. He frightened enough as it is. After the questioning, we headed straight to forest. The teens went to camp in. At night it was almost pitch black and oddly silent. Is it usually this quiet? I inquire. To which Jenna replies, normally no. We have quite a few animals in these parts. I'm worried something got to the kids. Not good. Something has scared off all the animals. Looks like I will be doing more than consulting after all. We were barely inside the forest when I started smelling blood and death. Jenna of course was none the wiser. She had not gone through the same kind of experiments and training as I had, which meant she was now just a liability. How about we split up, Jenna? Cover more ground that way. I'll give you a call if I find anything. Jenna thinks for a moment, then responds, all right William, but do not touch anything. Call me immediately. Of course. I'll go this way, I reply, then head off to where the smell is coming from as Jenna heads the opposite way. The stench was getting stronger, and eventually I arrived at what seemed to be the campsite. The scene before me was gruesome, something I had become familiar with in this line of work. Poor kids had been enjoying s'mores when whatever creature attacked. Slash marks across all their bodies. Not deep enough to kill instantly, but enough to make them bleed out. The creature had killed them for sport. I count the bodies. 5 in total. My employer's daughter was missing. Can't be a coincidence. Wonder if he knew more than he was letting on. Then I heard a scream, piercing the silence of the forest. Jenna. I rush towards her as fast as I can, moving as a blur. As I arrive, I see what caused the scream. It was tall and skinny. Some part of its body was covered in grayish fur while the rest was just bone. It had the skull of a deer, antlers and all, with the teeth of a canine, red with blood. A wendigo, a side effect when cannibals eat a little too much at once. It was eating the daughter, but its attention had been turned to Jenna, who screams, what the fuck is that? I do not take the time to explain, instead dashing towards it, bringing out my retractable sword and stabbing it in the chest, making sure to slip through its ribcage. Wendigos, despite their form, still have similar anatomy to a human, and stabbing its heart will kill it instantly. Unfortunately for me, I miss, hitting the lung instead, giving the monster time to grab me and fling me into a tree, breaking it as result. All I seemed to have done is piss it off. Then I hear gunshots. Jenna seemed to have gotten over her fear. Little good it does though. Wendigos might be skinny, but their bone is quite tough. It charges towards her instead as she keeps firing a gun even after the clip runs out. Run, damn it, run, I shout. She doesn't hear me as Wendigo charges into her, knocking her down. Jenna lies on the floor, eyes closed, and crying as the Wendigo opens its mouth wide enough to take her entire head with a single bite. Fortunately for her, it never comes. The Wendigo collapses. Poison had finally taken effect. My aim has always been terrible, so I take extra measures. I approach it and pull my blade out while giving it a kick to make sure it is dead for good. Jenna is still on the floor crying her eyes out and screaming, not realizing what has happened. It's over. The Wendigo is dead, I say soothingly. After what seems to be a minute, she opens her eyes, red from all the tears. The what? You know what that thing is? Shit, probably shouldn't have said that. Yes, but that's not important now. You should head back. In the morning bring the others and you can take the bodies, I tell her, remaining calm. What should I tell the others? The parents? She asks frantically. I'm sure you have predators in this forest. Say one of them got to the kids and that's it. You must lie to them. You understand? She nods her head. All right, go. I'll be right behind you. I hope she is able to lie. I couldn't tell her the truth. I couldn't tell her that the slash marks on the teens weren't from the Wendigo. I couldn't tell her that the daughter's already dead body had simply attracted the Wendigo, which of course begs the question, if the Wendigo didn't kill them, what did?